You're listening to the official Reformed Stoic podcast, covering politics, philosophy, theology, conspiracy theories. I'm ready to get to the bottom of this life. Are you? Join Wolfgang, Sketty Squad, Purity Gang, as we strive to take dominion over this dying planet. I am Reformed Stoic, and this is my podcast. Mic check, microphone check, we in this. Marvelous, marvelous. I think we got a good show for you guys today. I worked really hard on this one. Well, sort of. Let's be real, I pull up a few videos and articles like 20 minutes before the show starts. But it works out. We're the content, baby. I'd rock a Sketty Squad patch. Merch coming soon to a theater near you. All right, let's get this show on the road, ladies and gentlemen. I worked out today, played drums for a little bit. I'm gonna get some reading going after this. Did 5 minutes of jump rope, man, and hit the back. Getting back into it, trying to get that sweet, sweet, sweet momentum back. Positivity gang, purity gang, you know what it is. So for today's show, we are going to see what's happening with the recession, with an emphasis on the United States, of course. Inflation, recession, see what's happening with the economy. I picked out kind of a funny video. It's some like dude bro with a backwards hat. It's like, why this is the best time ever. Like how you can be successful right now, bro. It looks kind of like, I didn't watch it. I don't really know what to expect, but I have a feeling we're going to end up roasting the shit out of this guy. He's going to try to turn us all into bloomers. We'll approach it with an open mind. Then we're going to go over Elon Musk's Neuralink brain implant hype. I'm becoming one with the simulation. See what's happening with our buddy boyo Elon Musk and the gang. And then finally we're going to hear from some exorcists, some Catholic exorcists, and read up a little bit about demonic possession. I cast out all demons from my podcast in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Yeah, rip Joe Rogan, dude. Absolute tragedy. In his prime. Never forgetty. Nah, he's still kicking. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I guess it's time for the news segment. You're listening to the Reformed Stoic News segment. Let's go! Get hang tenny. This is like really watering the deal with this. I want Elon Musk in my brain. I want Neuralink. That sounds interesting. All right, first up, a little bit from our friends at CNBC. Here, let me get the chat situated. Skagitty giddy. All right. Ugly inflation numbers make a recession more likely in 2022, economist says. And this is hot off the press a couple of days ago. U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell speaks during a news conference at the Federal Reserve Building in Washington, D.C., June 15th, 2022. As inflation continues to increase, so does the probability of a recession, according to several recent economic forecasts. That means more layoffs, fewer jobs, and higher interest rates may soon be on the horizon. The median probability of a recession over the next 12 months is 47.5%, up from 30% in June, according to a Bloomberg survey of economists completed last week. Recessions are officially declared by the National Bureau of Economic Research, which defines them as a significant decline in economic activity that is spread across the economy and that lasts more than a few months. I was kind of wondering what the official definition of a recession is, so that should make it clear. A big reason a recession looks imminent is because of inflation, which is showing few signs of slowing down. Last week's Consumer Price Index report revealed year-over-year inflation reaching 9.1%, the highest rate since 1981. Banks, including Citigroup, Deloitte, and PNC Financial Services, previously predicted a slowdown in 2023, but recent forecasts say a recession could occur in 2022 or earlier in 2023 than formerly expected. Last week, Bank of America followed an earlier forecast by Japanese investment bank Nomura, predicting a mild recession in the remaining months of 2022. The outlook is a revision of earlier forecasts that only predicted slowing economic growth. Similarly, Wells Fargo has changed its outlook from an economic soft landing to a mild recession in the first quarter of 2023. Stock up on your food, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people are saying we might have till 2023. That might be the big one. Tuna, rice, oatmeal, pasta. Man, you know what I've been eating? I got those frozen meatballs, big old thing of pasta sauce, and then just a bunch of boxes of like rigatoni pasta, I think. It's good stuff, dude. And then I put some Parmesan cheese on it. All right, anyway. A key factor in that revised outlook is May and June inflation data from various sources, including the monthly CPI report, says John Bryson, Wells Fargo's chief economist. He calls June's CPI numbers ugly, adding that inflation is becoming more entrenched and more widespread. For consumers, it's eroding real disposable income. In fact, decreased consumer spending is another sign of a looming recession. Wells Fargo's forecast predicts that by September, there will be outright declines in consumer spending as more people dip into their savings to cover the growing costs of goods and services. We know what the NEETs will be doing. Tendies! That's not what I'm doing, though. Well, I'm halfway doing that. All right. Consumers have held the line pretty well in terms of spending, Bryson says. But they've brought down their savings rates and they've increased credit card debt. Those things aren't sustainable in the long run. You will eat the bugs. With persistent inflation comes interest rate hikes, which the Federal Reserve is all but certain to do when it meets at the end of the month. The only question is whether it will be a 0.75 interest rate hike, which most forecasts expect, or a 1% interest rate hike, which Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic says is in play. Rate hikes can decrease inflation by making it more expensive for businesses and consumers to borrow money, but this also discourages demand for goods and services, which can stunt economic growth. For consumers, higher interest rates means extra costs on adjustable rate debt like loans and credit cards, higher car financing costs, and potentially higher mortgage costs. A 1% hike would make these increases even more stark than a lesser increase. We have to control inflation, says economist Alexander Tomic, an associate dean at Boston College. It's especially necessary since wage growth is currently outpaced by the rate of inflation. The trillion-dollar question is whether we will be able to do that without tanking the economy. Recessions are man-made. Figure it out, Crunchy. I consider that. I consider this entire thing as artificially man-made. The virus and all of that, but I don't want to be labeled a conspiracy theorist. 2 more weeks, guys. 2 weeks. It's coming, baby. All right, moving right along there. Tried to keep this topic interesting. That's why we're going to hear from this guy. Bro, dude, you can, like, make fucking money, dude. And, like, bro, it's not all bad, dude. Don't be a downer, bro. Yeah, this guy's going to try to cheer us up. How to use this recession to get rich. I'm looking forward to that. But more seriousness first.
If you look at every U.S. recession, well, since World War II, you'll see two things always happen. The GDP, the measure of economic output, goes down, and unemployment goes up.
For most Americans, when do you feel a recession? It's when you start worrying about your job.
Now let's look at today. The GDP is going down. Even the head of the Federal Reserve says a recession is
certainly a possibility.
But the unemployment rate, it's actually falling. More people are getting jobs, not losing them.
Oh, really?
We don't know if it's a recession. What we can say is that if it is one, it's not like anything we've ever seen before.
Here's why. The reason the GDP and unemployment are always together is because they feed on each other. When businesses lay off,
people becoming less social started before COVID. Seems like it was really noticeable around 2015. That's so weird, man, because, like, I moved to Vegas in the summer of 2014, and it just was like the gates opening to such a bizarre part of my life where I ultimately started to become isolated and be less social. So, yeah, I mean, I certainly felt it, but for me, I just wonder if it was just me and other people were being more social than ever, but I feel you on that, bro. That's why I stopped the video to read that comment. I feel it. I definitely felt things getting less social.
off workers, people spend less money, which means businesses make fewer profits and lay off workers. A recession can begin at any of these points, and in 2022, people could cut back on spending. Just look at consumer sentiment, a measure that weighs how people are feeling about the economy and whether they plan to spend money soon. Generally, when people respond that they feel more pessimistic, a recession follows. And right now, they're feeling about as good as during the Great Recession in 2008, thanks to inflation. Not a great sign for the GDP.
If people are frustrated by high inflation, if they think inflation is going to stick around for a while, they might pull back, convince companies to cut back, and that leads to worse outcomes for the economy.
But businesses are in a different place than past recessions. This chart shows the average corporate profit margin. In the past, profits were in the single digits, leading into several recessions, including 2001.
That was a business-driven recession where companies overinvested. They decided they had to cut back in order to rebuild their profit margins, and that led us right into a recession.
The bubble has now burst. I would not argue yet that we've seen the bottom in NASDAQ or in our tech index.
So are we back in one of those cycles? In some ways, it doesn't look like that because profit margins are so high right now.
Not only are corporate profits in double digits, but the amount of cash they have is close to $4 trillion. Analysts say that's a significant downturn buffer.
They might just decide they can weather this storm and not lay off workers and not cut back on investment and kind of get us to the other end of this adjustment without a big retrenchment that feeds on itself.
And companies have an incentive to not lose any workers because many are having problems finding workers in the first place. It's a really unique time in the job market. The labor force participation rate is as low as it's been in 40 years. And it isn't all due to the pandemic. The rate has been declining for a long time. You can see it in...
You know, for me, it's kind of disturbing to think about how much time was wrapped up in my trying to be a rapper, dude. Like, this company scouted me at, like, the beginning of 2015. So all of 2015 was writing songs for this development deal. And then I shot the video and recorded the songs in the beginning of 2016. Seriously, all of 2016 was wrapped up and, like, waiting for it to come out. So, yeah, I watched, like, 2 years of my life just kind of dissipate doing all this rap shit that didn't really amount to much.
The unfilled job rates, too. As more people leave the labor force, the more job positions become available. Add in a pandemic, and that's a lot of jobs.
11 million jobs are out there that they just can't find people to fill. Now, to put that in perspective, if you look back at, say, 2019, when the economy was considered to be exceptionally strong, unfilled job openings were 7 million. So, like, here we are talking about a downturn in the economy, and we have 4 million more jobs open than we had even at the height of the last expansion. So you have to ask yourself the question, why is that? Why is that happening? One answer is that there's generational change happening in the economy. We have millions of baby boomers who are retiring. So there's just not as many workers out there. It's also been the case that there's just been really strong...
Baby boomers are retiring and millennials aren't really taking their place, apparently.
...demand for goods and services, in part because of all the stimulus that was pumped into the economy during the pandemic. And so that combination of labor shortages and strong demand created this really robust job market.
And it's this robust job market that could make a 2022 recession, if one develops, so different. After past recessions, there was what was called jobless recoveries, where GDP began to grow back, but companies continued to lay off workers.
Right now we're seeing a mirror image of that, where the economic output is contracting and companies are still hiring. It's what I'm calling a jobful downturn.
But how long could an economic downturn really be job-full?
This is unsustainable, right, to have economic output contracting at a time when companies are hiring. So one of two things has to happen. Either the economy adjusts and companies start expanding again, or the economy keeps contracting, economic output keeps contracting, and companies say, whoa, we're over our skis and we've got to cut jobs. One of those two things is going to happen. We just don't know which of the two.
No recession has ever looked exactly like another. And if there's a recession in 2022, it won't look like anything we've seen before either.
All right, so that was the Wall Street Journal. Let's see some comments. The Fed has lost it, and the sad fact is it's pretty obvious we are headed for hyperinflation. I think stores better have tight security because when people can't afford to feed their families, things might get ugly. 9 hours ago. Have you been grocery shopping lately? Things are already ugly. The best bet for anyone with a brain is to get in on a passive income stream while you still can. Doesn't matter which one it is. Just get on it and stay committed. Easier said than done. But yeah, in order to successfully partake and make the most of the present market opportunities, you'd have to be a pro with years of experience or have one guiding you. Yep. Sure, advisors are outperforming the market and raising good returns, but some are charging fees over fees, seeing that their services are currently in high demand. More than ever. Seems more like extortion to me. Interesting. I astral projected. I can't afford to live anymore. I know so many people who are having to get second jobs. Yeah, bro. Times are getting fucked up. I feel you. I'm trying to stay motivated. I'm trying to stay driven, man. It's been up and down. All the stores in the ghetto are going to start putting everything behind bulletproof glass, and they will hand the homies their items through the little slot. Yeah, well, it's already been like that for a while, but we'll see that bulletproof glass spread as time goes on. Well, guys, let's get some good news going. This guy's going to help us figure it out, baby. This is hot off the press from yesterday. Bro, this is like such a great time to get rich. And let's hear it.
We are living in probably one of the greatest times in history right now.
Let's go. I'm loving it. Best time in history hype. Dude, this is the best time of my life. Couldn't be happier. Right, gang?
The opportunity that is at our feet as I'm filming this video is absolutely insane. And if you take advantage of this opportunity, you will literally be able to 10x your net worth. I'm serious. If you're worth 100 grand, you'll go to $1 million. If you're worth $1 million.
Dude, I am worth 100 grand. Wow, I'm going to be a millionaire.
and you'll go to 10. You guys know how to do the math. I promise you, this is real. So let me just start by summarizing what I'm going to give you in this video in 4 bullet points. I'm going to tell you guys what a recession is and why they're actually a good thing. I'm going to break down what businesses you should start during a recession and why they're actually easier to start during a recession than any other time. I'm going to tell you
It's never been a better time to smash, bros. You just have to be over 6'2", brah.
exactly how to invest during a recession so that you can probably 10 or 15x your entire net worth. And then finally, I'm going to tell you what my personal plan is for the next 24 to 48 months into the future so that I can make millions and millions and millions of dollars off of this upcoming opportunity or recession. So I'm filming this in the middle of July, and by the end of July, we're going to find out if we are officially in a recession. And for those of you that don't know, a recession on paper is defined as 2 consecutive quarters with a negative GDP. So it just means that the economy is not growing, and in fact, it's shrinking. Recessions usually follow bear markets, and we are in a bear market. For those of you that don't know, a bear market is just a
How do you make your voice sound more like that, dude? I know that girls love that kind of a voice. He's got that low, bassy Chad voice. Oh, bro, we went surfing, brah. Dude, we're going surfing. Dude, we're going surfing. I don't know. I'm a freaking beta, okay? Let's figure out how to make some money.
20% decline from the all-time highs. So we are far past that. And sometimes recessions follow bear markets. So by the end of June, we are going to figure out if we are officially in a recession, but it's pretty obvious. I think everybody at this point has accepted it. And as I'm filming this, Biden just announced like 2 hours ago that his plan to combat inflation was a recession. So it's like at this point, they're just preparing to tell us at the end of June that we are officially in recession. And 75% of Fortune 500 CEOs said that they are bracing for a recession currently. So why are recessions good then? Most of you guys know basic economics, but this is just how the economy works. It's growth, and then it's followed by a period of correction, and then what follows correction is growth. But the actual tactical stuff, like why is it good? It's good because prices on employees, good, assets, and investments reset. You can buy anything that historically goes up in value at a major discount.
Do they have those kind of effects here? Let's see here. We got filters. Let's see. So EQ, limiter, noise gate, noise suppression. Compressor. Compressor makes the volume consistent. Gain, expander. It would be an EQ, and I'm not seeing one of those, so let's worry about that later. Anyway, I know sound. I took a class on this.
Accounts like stocks, like gold, commodities, real estate, and crypto. It presents an opportunity for new companies to come into the space and grow and flourish. And following the end of a recession marks the beginning of a long period of growth usually. So by the end of the recession, if you had all your ducks in a row and you've been preparing and saving up and investing accordingly, and then we bottom out and start going up, you're going to become very, very wealthier than you were for the next couple of years or however long. So think of your store or restaurant as an economy or sector of an economy. Then out of nowhere, a carnival comes to town and brings a ton of traffic into this little city or whatever. Think of this as the boom period, as the new people are coming into your store for business. You don't know how to interpret this, so in turn, you have to hire new people to keep up with the inflow of orders. You have to order new supplies and ingredients to keep up with the volume of orders, which in turn increases prices for raw materials and other materials in your restaurant. Then all of a sudden, the carnival leaves, and this begins the retraction of your business in your store, or rather we call this the bust period or the recession. There are a couple things you now have to do as you are over your budget. You have to get rid of some people or decrease some hours. You have to lower prices to offset the missing demand so customers will have an incentive to shop in your store. The fact that you are ordering less and less ingredients or supplies will bid down the price of raw materials and those supplies and ingredients. This will cause prices of said materials to drop down to more affordable levels. In short, recessions cause prices to fall. The recovery is to fill the void and to find new ways to allocate these resources properly. So now you guys understand, for the last couple of years, everything has just been going up in price. Everything, houses, gold, cryptocurrency, land, whatever, you name it, it's been going up. Gasoline is another one. And now prices of food and everything like that. And the only thing that the government is prepared to do to...
Do I ever see things getting better for men in America? I don't know, man. You know, I can kind of only speak for myself. Not only in these hard times, I chose like a bad career and I did it badly in a bad time. So I'm just going to try to make things better for me. I mean, everybody just, every man has a struggle before him, you know, and we all face a similar struggle in some regards. Like, wow, dating's harder than it's ever been. It's going to be hard to trust a woman in marriage. Like, you could easily, you don't necessarily make it when you get married. You know, there's a lot of problems that come with that. It just seems like we're starting to live life on hard mode, man, or nightmare mode, or whatever you want to call it. And it's like, every man, you know, if you don't want to hear the lecture about pull yourself up by the bootstraps, I feel you on that. But if you don't pull yourself up by the bootstraps, you know, life's not going to be very glamorous. So if you want life to be glamorous, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. If you don't want to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, get a cozy DVD collection and a couple of cats and a shithole apartment and hang out on the podcast with the gang.
Combat this inflation that they've caused from printing all this money is to raise the interest rates, and that makes borrowing more expensive, and so people don't borrow as much, and so they don't spend as much, and that kind of leads us into a soft recession. Now, I'm not an economist, I'm not a financial advisor, this is all just research I've done on my own, but what we should expect to see over the next couple of months and years to come is just a decrease in stocks, a decrease in real estate, and a decrease in price for commodities over a period of time. So consolidation, basically, which is good because gas is going to get cheaper, food is going to get cheaper, inflation is going to come down, and it's going to allow us to like recalibrate and reload all of our cannon. And I'm going to explain why this is such an amazing opportunity right now. I'm sure you've heard from those mega 100-millionaire dudes that wealth is built in recessions. You see like the billionaires tweeting that, and you hear it in podcasts and whatever, and it's true. But what exactly should you do watching this video right now? You need to start a cash flowing business. If you don't have one already, you need to get something that
just get the cash flowing, bro. Oh, hold on. What's up? Stacy? Yeah, come on over. I'm going to bang you doggy style for half an hour. Yeah, bring your friend too. Yeah, just get like I was saying, bros, just get the cash flowing, brah. Just start a business, brah. What do you mean you don't know how to start a business?
Reduces income for you, and you need to start saving that income as fast as you possibly can. And if you have a job that's good, you can budget and save money from your job, but during a recession, people get laid off, and that's not guaranteed. So I think the best thing for you to do is to start a business, because the best way to never get fired is if you are your own boss, right? So build up as much.
I started a business. This is my podcast business, and I'm my own boss. Let's go. I cashed out $9 yesterday. Let's sketty. You guys bought me a Red Bull kicker from a sweetie.
Liquidity as possible, or cash as possible, so that you can invest starting in like 6 to 8 months. You should also try to improve your circle of people and get around people that have been through recessions in the past, that are financially affluent, that have more experience.
Get around people who have been through recessions. So basically boomers. Like some boomer who's a prepper and lives in a bunker is like, yeah, I remember the recession in 2008. Obama's a bastard. Chewing tobacco. And surround yourself with boomers who have been through recessions before, man.
Experience with stuff like this, and try to like hang out with these people and get an understanding for what they think is going to happen, because they have more experience. And also, if you have a great community of people around you, information will travel a lot faster, and you guys can just all help each other. So the odds of you guys all succeeding when you're all working together is much higher than if you are just doing it by yourself. This goes for investing, for businesses, for literally everything. So get around the right people for sure. And then finally, don't spend.
Just have lots of friends, brah. Oh, dude, I got lots of people. Kenny, what's good? Kenny, Benny, Spenny. Oh, what's up, Jenny? What's up, Jenny? What's up, Stacy? What's up? Yeah, I got lots of people around, bro. I'm in frat. We're going to go party with the sororities tonight. I got lots of good people around me. Oh, you don't have any friends, brah? Oh, damn, brah. You're going to have to just have a lot of friends, dude. Just have a lot of friends. Okay. So far, start a business and have a lot of friends.
Spend money on things you don't need. Just save up as much money as you possibly can. And it's really, really extremely important that you listen to this advice right now, because times like this don't happen all the time. Like, this is an opportunity. It's
just get friends in a business right now.
Happening right now. You are aware of it because you're watching this video, and you need to take advantage of this opportunity. Even if you only have $10,000 or $15,000 to your name, it does not matter. You need to take advantage of it, because this is.
Oh, good. Okay, I only have $10,000 to my name, so. Oh, even if you only have $10,000. Oh, okay. Do I have $10,000? Dude, I do. I have I got $10,000, dude. Yes, business time. Let me call all my friends. Let me get my friends going, and that 10 grand. Thank God I have 10 grand.
This is how people get rich. This is how people get super wealthy. And like I said, after every single recession, a bull market follows. And you can just look at this graph and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. If you're ever going to make a move, the time is now, because the more you invest during this period of downturn when everything is cheap, and the longer you can hold on to it, eventually it's going to bottom out, and then it's going to start going back up. The bull market is going to begin, and all of the assets that you acquired during this discounted period are going to start increasing, and they're going to go to new all-time highs. On average, recessions last between 8 months and 4 years, with most being between 1 and 3 years long. That means that by the end of July, if they announce a decline in GDP, we will have already been in a recession for 6 months, which means that if we're using the history and averages, we can guess that it would be best to buy stuff around 12 to 24 months from the day this video is posted. Of course, you can never use like past events and history to 100% accurately predict what's going to happen in the future, but you could take the average and you can have a general idea of what might happen with decent accuracy. And if you kind of give yourself some time and you slowly DCA or dollar cost average into markets like stock markets, real estate markets, and crypto, starting in a couple months after this video is posted, and you just do small incremental amounts over the next 1 or 2 years, I think that you're really going to set yourself up for a massive win. Seriously, like a substantial amount of money relative
Just buy crypto, brah.
to however much money you have. And it's so simple. All you have to do is just periodically invest and hold on, and just literally put your seatbelt on like you're going on the roller coaster, like click, and just hold on for your life, because by the time the roller coaster is over, you're going to feel amazing, right? So yeah, wait 3 to 5 years and add an extra 0 to your net worth. And in an effort to add an extra 0 to my net worth, FTX has graciously sponsored this video. So thank you, FTX, but more on them later. So what business should you start? What business can you start right now that is cash flowing, that will make you a lot of money? And when doing research for this video, people said that donut shops and childcare businesses were going to be good during recessions. But I know nobody watching my channel is interested in starting a donut shop or like a daycare job. I don't know, maybe you are, but my intuition says no. So the best bet is something that's highly scalable, something that's online, and something that is essential to other businesses to survive. And the best way to be essential to other businesses is to make them other money. That being said, I think a service-based agency around one skill is an absolutely terrific business to start right now. I also think a freelancing job that makes people's lives easier or makes other businesses more money is another terrific and amazing thing to do right now. And then a YouTube channel. And I'll explain more about this a little bit.
How can I make businesses more money? Oh, I got so many ideas. I got so many ideas on how to make businesses more money. Totally.
Later on. Now, early in this video, you actually heard me say that it was easier to start a business during a recession. So how could it possibly be easier? Well, during a recession, it's easier to hire talent. Suppliers are more negotiable. It's cheaper to borrow money, usually by the end of it. And bad businesses go out of business, and there's less competition. So because bad businesses go out
of business, bro. That's great for you, because your business isn't going to be bad. You're not going to be one of those bad businesses that goes out of business, right? Because we're cool like this guy. Go get that 10 grand that you just got lying around.
a business and there's less competition, it gives room and it paves the way for new businesses that are good. Now, you guys saw a video I posted a week or so ago where I listed out like 30 different businesses. And if you haven't seen that video, you should go watch it after this video. But if you can't think of anything during this video or after this video, definitely go check that out, because I just blitzkrieg list off a bunch of different businesses, and that might get some of your creative juices flowing. I don't know. So how should you invest your money during this period of time? I'm not a professional investor. I'm a kid. I'm 23 years old, almost 24 years old, and I have some experience, but I'm just saying this is what I'm going to do. Okay. So don't sue me. Starting in 12 to 24 months, you should dollar cost average into crypto, stocks, and you should buy real estate if you have enough money to do so. This is exactly what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, I think I'm going to buy a house, dude. I'm going to buy a house. What are houses, like 300 grand? Let me just buy one of them houses real quick.
Investing is boring, so be boring, and it's the safest way to play the game. I don't think that you should try to be like a genius wizard person and try to like time the market perfectly. I think you should just play it safe and be boring and dollar cost average over the next couple of years. And that is the best possible option. It's just long and boring, but I think it's the best possible option. So just make safe decisions and just take advantage of this massive opportunity. I'm probably going to be spending...
This is capitalism in a nutshell, guys. Like, to take part in capitalism, you need capital. So, yeah, I mean, the more money that you have already, the easier this already is. To where, like, if you have 100 grand in the bank, then it's just like, yeah, you can actually start doing this shit. You can actually, like, buy real estate and buy crypto, and you can actually do everything he's saying if you have money. But the less money that you have, where I maybe have like $1,000 in the bank, it's like, it's comical, brah.
Around $500,000 to $750,000 on crypto during the next couple of years. I'm probably going to allocate around $200,000 to $300,000 to stocks. I want to put $1 to $2 million into real estate during this period, and then maybe $200,000 to $300,000 in more risky or various.
Oh, okay. So he's gonna 750,000, $1,050,000, 3,050,000. Dude, 3,350,000, dude. Sounds good. just invest 3.5 mil, brah. 3.5 mil, brah. 3.5 mil, brah.
Investments, various venture opportunities that come my way. And it's literally that simple. In fact, I would make
It's that simple, brah. 3.5 mil.
a bet to anybody watching this video right now. I would bet you $100 that if I do everything that I just said I was going to do, and I make another YouTube video in 5 to 7 years, I will have turned that $1 or $2 million, or however much I'm going to end up doing, into literally $10+ million of pure liquidity, like just pure money, cash
Pure liquidity. I'm not liquid, John. I'm not
in
liquid.
the bank. Like, that is something I'm willing to make a bet to anybody watching this video right now. But who knows? Anything can happen, and we will see. And again, not to worry, not to spread fear or anything. After every single recession, usually a bull market follows. This is the absolute best time to make your move. So you have 6 to 8 months to start your business, start making money, and then start spending that money on all of the things that are going to go back up.
I'm gonna do it.
And the best place, in my opinion, to start dollar cost averaging into the markets is FTX. I also want to say that FTX just gave me a new deal, and they're giving everybody that signs up using my link $15 when they trade over $100. So you get literally $15 for free when you trade over $100 on FTX using my link. And I have my own landing page.
All right. Are we all feeling better now, dude? Oh, this is actually the best time that's ever been. See, that's how rich people feel. Rich people just can't lose, dude. Oh my gosh, recessions are great. Like, I'll just get in my Giga bunker and I'll just like invest 3.5 mil, brah. And Giga bunker, have lots of friends, 3.5 mil, brah. Like, yeah, totally. How's everybody in the comments feeling? Starting early is the best way. Let's start early, guys. I can't even read these comments. The wisest thing that should be on everyone's mind currently should be, why did you put a period there? To invest in different streams of income that doesn't depend on government. Yeah, let's just invest, guys. Does somebody need $50? What if I invest $50? How can I give someone $50 and then be a millionaire? Is that possible? I got into Bitcoin back in 2016. Nobody likes people like you, dude. Yeah, you did it. You made a good decision. I fucking blew it. I went to a stupid overpriced music school right out of high school and took out $20,000 in student loans. You think you're better than me? All right, let's learn about Neuralink. Neuralink time, baby. So, in conclusion, a recession's about to happen, and 3.5 mil, brah. Just 3.5 mil, brah. Have lots of friends and 3.5 mil. Okay, we'll figure it out. Radio. Neuralink co-founder leaves as brain company descends into chaos. It doesn't seem to be going well at Neuralink, folks. The plans are falling apart. Brain drain. As if Elon Musk's ventures could handle any more drama, another of Neuralink's co-founders has left the troubled neurotech outfit amid a slow exodus of execs. Reported by Reuters. 3.5 mil, bro. The exit of Neuralink co-founder Paul Morella makes the 6th of 8 co-founders of the brain implant company to leave over the last few years, which doesn't seem like a very good sign for the company that Musk promised would be a Fitbit in your skull. Why does anybody want this? How does that sound like a good idea to anyone? Oh, just put the chip in your brain, dude. And then we'll be skitting it. 2 people familiar with the matter told Reuters only that Marola, who per his website is a deep machine learning expert, had left the company as of now. The reasons for his exit are unknown. Probably like, I can't do it. I can't go through with it. It's so evil. It's going to hurt so many people. I don't think that I can live with myself. The destruction, the murder, the pain. Regret. In spite of the vague details about Marola's departure, however, there's a lot of reporting suggesting that Neuralink, founded in 2016, is struggling to gain the traction of Tesla or SpaceX. We did it. Huh, so yeah, that's all Elon Musk stuff. Tesla, SpaceX, unless he like sold Tesla or something. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure he owns all of that shit. Must be nice, brah. So Elon's people don't agree with each other. Just throw money at it, Elon. I'm sure he'll figure it out. Stat reported in 2020 that the company was struggling with rushed deadlines and unexpectedly killed projects, with a number of other company co-founders having already left. Reports have also emerged of the company allegedly abusing primate subjects and that 21% of its brain-hacked monkeys died. That doesn't sound very good, does it? I wish I could describe the picture that just played in my head. Like monkeys scared as shit running through some like digital, running through a digital matrix, and like, I don't even know, dude. I can't even put it into words. 21% of the brain-hacked monkeys died. Well, I guess I'm not going to put the chip in my brain, but that's just me, dude. I'm not very hip. I'm not cool. I don't, no chips in my brain for me. I suppose I could always come around. Because of issues with their implants, and former employees have griped about working conditions there. Last year, Neuralink president Max Hodak abruptly departed the venture under a shroud of mystery, which left the company all the more unmoored. Hodak proceeded to found his own vaguely described neurotech startup, Science Corp, and took some ranking Neuralink employees with him in 2021. Aha! Here we go. Nintendo versus Sony PlayStation for your brain chips. Early in 2022, he went on to invest in another Neuralink rival, Synchron, which beat the Musk company to become the first in the US to implant a brain-computer interface into human patients. Chaos is a given at Musk's ventures, but unless it pushes ahead on human implants, it's not clear how much more Neuralink can endure. Based Elon Musk, bros. He's our guy. Let's all get computer brain chips. You have small arms for a drummer. Drummers usually buff. I play guitar and I'm skinny. Okay. You should pay attention to the podcast, bro. I'm not doing a bodybuilding competition right now, dog. We're learning about Neuralink. Pay attention.
So what the beeps you're hearing are real-time signals from the Neuralink in Gertrude's head. So this Neuralink connects to neurons that are in her snout. So whenever she snuffles around and touches something with her snout, that sends out neural spikes, which are detected here. All right, welcome to the Neuralink product demo. I'm really excited to show you what we've got. I think it's going to blow your mind. So I want to emphasize the purpose of Neuralink. Like, what's our goal? Our goal is to solve important spine and brain problems with a seamlessly implanted device. So you want to have a device that you can basically put in your head and feel and look totally normal, but it solves some important problem in your brain or spine. So going into the Neuralink architecture, what we've done over the past year is dramatically simplify the device. So we about a year ago, we had a device which had multiple parts, including a piece that had to sort of sit behind your ear, and it was complex, and you wouldn't still look totally normal. You'd have a thing behind your ear. So we've simplified this to simply something that is about the size of a large coin, and it goes in your skull replaces a piece of skull, and the wires then connect within a few seconds.
Man, Elon Musk is such a shitty presenter. And it's like, oh, he's so smart. You don't understand. Like, he's so smart. And everybody's like kissing his ass, even when his presentations are just like always garbage, man. Long time ago here on stream, like maybe 5-6 months ago, we were watching his presentation on travel to Mars, and it was just like, man, this guy really gives a shitty presentation. And then everybody laughs awkwardly, like, that's Elon Musk. He's so smart, even though this presentation sucks. Like, jeez.
Centimeters, or about an inch away from the device. And this is sort of what it looks like. So, yeah.
I want to like bully him, dude. What if like a Chad just walked up to him on stage? Hey, what's up, bro? You standing here? That's cool, dude. You don't look like you really do good with women, dude. You could say that bullshit that this weirdo was just saying to me. He's like, I thought you played drums, brah. Most drummers have pretty big arms, brah. I play guitar, brah. I'm going to stand here instead of you, brah. Like, I feel like somebody should bully him, dude. You're cringe. You're a nerd.
This is our little device. It does, that thing at the bottom is just to hold the threads in place, because they're just like little fine.
Usually scientists have bigger arms, brah. I play guitar, brah.
Fine wires. I mean, frankly, to sort of simplify this, what we're, I mean, it's more complicated than this, but it's, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires. Our current prototype version.
And why does this sound good to anybody? Why does this sound good to anybody? Like, and how do you get that in your skull? Like, oh, it's simple. It's a simple procedure. You just fucking cut off the top of your skull and stick it in there and sew it back on. Like, oh, good. Yeah, cut open my skull and put in a fucking brain chip, and then just easy, dude. It's never been easier to put a chip in your skull.
0.9 has about 1,000 channels, so that's about 100 times better than the next best consumer device that's available. And it's a 23 millimeters by 8 millimeters. It actually fits quite nicely in your skull, because your skull is about 10 millimeters thick. So it fits, it goes flush with your skull, it's invisible, and all you can see afterwards is that there's a tiny scar. And if it's under your hair, you can't see it at all. In fact, I could have a Neuralink right now, and you wouldn't know. Anyway, so it's also inductively charged. So it's charged in the same way that you charge a smartwatch or a phone. And so you can use it all day, charge it at night, and have full functionality. So you would really, it would be completely seamless, and yeah, no wires. In terms of getting a link, so that, you need to have the device, a great device, and you also need to have a great robot that puts in the electrodes and does the surgery. So you want the surgery to be as automated and as possible, and the only way you can achieve the level of precision that's needed is with an advanced robot. The link procedure, the installation of a link, done in under an hour. So you can basically go in the morning and leave the hospital in the afternoon. And it can be done without general anesthesia. So this is our surgical robot.
I honestly kind of can't believe I'm watching this. Like, you know, on some level I can understand. It's like, okay, I'm not a liberal, but I understand why people are liberals. I kind of used to be one. As much of an edgelord as I am, as much as I disagree with so many things, I can understand where people come from. I can empathize with people. But is there really anybody who wants, like, yeah, just cut open my skull and put a fucking computer chip in it? Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I can't really see why anybody would be eating this up. This just doesn't make any sense to me at all, dude. I guess I'm old. I don't know.
And we actually ultimately want this robot to do essentially the entire surgery. So in everything from incision, removing the skull, inserting the electrodes, placing the device, and then closing things up and having you ready to leave. So we want to have a fully automated system. So this shows you at sort of close-up view, which I think is actually not too gruesome, of the electrodes being inserted in the brain. And if you look closely, you'll see that it's a little counterintuitive that if the electrodes are inserted very carefully, that there's no bleeding. And so if you have very tiny electrodes, and if they're inserted very carefully, so that the robot actually images the brain and makes sure to avoid any veins or arteries, so that the electrodes can be inserted with no noticeable damage. So you will have no noticeable neural damage in inserting the link.
No noticeable neural damage. Like, there's a little bit, but it's not noticeable. It won't be noticeable because, you're becoming retarded from the damage.
So does it actually work? And what I'm excited to show you, I call it like the Three Little Pigs demo. And if our animal handlers, we're bringing out the pigs. And what we're going to show you is well, I'll walk right over and show you. So what we have in pen number 1 is Joyce, and she does not have an implant. Obviously healthy and happy. We're trying to get Gertrude out, and this is how you know it's a live demo. So here's Dorothy, and in the case of Dorothy, Dorothy used to have an implant, and then we removed the implant. So this is a very important thing to demonstrate is reversibility. So if you have a Neuralink, and then you decide you don't want it, or you want to get an upgrade, and the Neuralink is removed, is it removed in such a way that you are still healthy and happy afterwards? And what Dorothy illustrates is that you can put in the Neuralink, remove it, and be healthy, happy, and indistinguishable from a normal pig. Well, thanks, Dorothy. Here we go. Great. Okay. Great. Okay. This is a high-energy pig. All right. Gertrude, thanks for coming out. So what the beeps you're hearing are real-time signals from the Neuralink in Gertrude's head. So this Neuralink connects to neurons that are in her snout. So whenever she snuffles around and touches something with her snout, that sends out neural spikes, which are detected here. And so on the screen, you can see each of the spikes from the 1,024 electrodes. And then if she snuffles around, touches her snout in the ground, or you kind of feed her some food, pigs love food, then you can see the neurons will fire much more than when you're not touching the snout. And that's what's making the beeping sound. All right, cool. So as you can see, we have a healthy and happy pig, initially shy, but obviously high energy and kind of loving life. And she's had the implant for 2 months. So this is a healthy and happy pig with an implant that is 2 months old and working well. Yeah. All right, cool. And then we actually have, I'm not sure if this works, so we said, well, what if we do 2 Neuralink implants? And we've been able to do dual Neuralink implants in, actually I think 3 pigs at this point, and we have a couple of them here. And we've been able to show that you can actually have multiple Neuralinks implanted, and again, healthy and happy and indistinguishable from a normal pig. So, so it's possible to have multiple links in your head and have them all be sending out signals and be working well. All right, so we just showed you a demo.
Why the hell would you want to run 2 Neuralinks at the same time? 'Cause I like to party. Ricky Bobby, dude.
Demonstration of reading brain activity. And let's see, probably see that. As I was saying, each of those dots represents a neural spike, and the blue chart at the bottom is showing an accumulation of neural spikes in that region. So in terms of additional brain reading activity, when we have say one of our pigs on a treadmill, pig on a treadmill. It's funny concept, really. And we take the readings from the neurons, and we try to predict the position of the joints. And so we have the predicted position of the joints, and then we measure the actual position of the joints. You can see that they're almost exactly aligned. So we're able, with a wireless neural implant, to actually predict the position of all of the limbs in the pig's body with very high accuracy. Now, in terms of writing to the brain or stimulating neurons, we also need precise control of the electric field in space and time. We need a wide range of current for different brain regions. Some regions require delicate stimulation, some require a lot of current, and you want obviously no harm to the brain over time. And the way part of the way we analyze the stimulating neurons is with a 2-photon microscopy. I always have trouble pronouncing that, microscopy. And it's very impressive technology. You can actually literally see in real time how the neurons are firing. So the red sort of things are the neurons. The red sort of flashing things are the neurons firing, or I should say the electrodes firing. So the red things are electrodes firing, and then the green are the neuron bodies responding to the current from the electrode. And we're making good progress towards clinical studies. I'm excited to announce that we received a breakthrough device designation from the FDA in July, thanks to the hard work of the Neuralink team. So I want to be clear, we're working closely with the FDA, and we'll be extremely rigorous. In fact, we will significantly exceed the minimum FDA guidelines for safety. We will make this as safe as possible.
But what are some likely first applications?
So our first clinical trial is aimed at people with paraplegia or tetraplegia, so cervical spinal cord injury. We're going to enroll, we plan to enroll a small number of patients to make sure the device is safe and that it works in that case.
Yeah, so actually just to elaborate on that, if somebody is like a severe spinal cord injury, to the degree that they have very limited control even over their facial muscles. I think something that's very exciting as a long-term application is if you can sense what somebody's trying to do with their limbs, what they want to do with their limbs, then you can actually do a second implant.
Yeah, next up we got Elon Musk to finally test Neuralink on humans, and this was about a week ago. So this is from 2020, so yeah, we got more to learn about this. Human testing is right around the corner.
That's at the base of the spine, or wherever, just after wherever the spinal injury occurred, and you can create a neural shunt. So I think long term, I'm confident that long term, it will be possible to restore somebody's full body motion.
Another question from Twitter: will you be able to save and replay memories in the future?
Yes, I think in the future you'll be able to save and replay memories. I mean, this is obviously sounding increasingly like a Black Mirror episode, but well, I guess they're pretty good at predicting. But yeah, essentially, if you have a whole brain interface, everything that's encoded in memory, you could upload. You could basically store your memories as a backup and restore the memories. And ultimately, you could potentially download them into a new body or into a robot body. The future is going to be weird.
One common theme that's been coming up a lot on these Twitter questions coming in is that of availability. And so Matthias has a specific question on this, which is, any estimate of how much it will cost at launch and what price it will reduce to over time?
Well, I think at launch, it's probably going to be, I would say that's not really representative, because at first, I think it's going to be quite expensive, but that price will very rapidly drop. And I think over time, we want to get the cost obviously down as low as possible. But I think inclusive of the automated surgery, I think we want to get the price down to a few $1,000s, something like that. And I think that's possible. I think it should be possible to get it similar to LASIK, and then the device electronics itself, I think will not be very expensive, because it actually does use a lot of the parts that are made in extremely high volume, in tens of millions of units, for smartphones and smartwatches and wearables in general.
All right, let's see what people in the comments are thinking about this. One day when Elon Musk's presentation skills drastically improve overnight, you'll know he got the implant. Ha ha ha. People can tell that he's an autismo. Elon presenting this sounds like me when I try to tell a teacher about the book I never read. Yikes, everybody's ragging on his presentation skills. One of the first things I pointed out as well. Neuralink has detected you are questioning authority. Pay this fee to remain alive. And look at 63 replies. Everybody's probably seething. You just are anti-science and typical... Like, everybody's probably mad that he said that. Neuralink has detected you are questioning authority. Pay this fee to remain alive. Let's see if somebody's triggered. All your thoughts will be punished as crimes. I don't like technology. It's gotten too far. This could be so great, but everything is used for nefarious reasons. Imagine the government knowing everything, every single thought you have. They already know your interests, face, searches, age, identity, and locations. Never enough for the government. They want to control your brain now. When you have no valid argument, there we go. Oh, wait, where did oh, that person must have deleted their comment. You have no valid argument. You're not smart enough to understand Neuralink. You're under arrest for armed robbery 3 weeks from now. Minority Report hype. This is why you put God first. Amen, brother. Amen. Let's go. Absolutely. Sounds like the prototype to eventually finish the real thing they warned about thousands of years ago. Revelation 13, 16 through 18. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bound, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Yeah, man, looks like a lot of people aren't into it, which makes sense. I feel like the kind of people who eat McDonald's every day and live on welfare are the kind of people who are going to get this shit. Yo, I can hook up my iPhone, dog. I got my iPhone in my head. I'm playing Lil Wayne in your head. They're going to get it so they can play Kodak Black in their head. Easy to install. Indian accent. Today, guys, in my tutorial, I will show you how to install DIY Neuralink. Alright, guys, I'm going to throw on the radio for like 30 seconds. I gotta go take a piss. Somebody said no dead air. Guess what? You're going to listen to music. Pee-pee time. So now, this is from a week ago or so. Viral news, Elon Musk to finally test Neuralink on humans.
What if we had complete freedom to test new body-invasive technologies on real people? Since the dawn of science, direct technology testing on real individuals has been an ethical nightmare. This was a problem for ancient physicists and doctors, and it's now a problem for modern scientists. However, this doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem for Elon Musk, as he seems to have recently revealed his plan to carry out a human trial for his Neuralink technology. Is Elon Musk really going to ignore all the ethical dilemmas that seem to surround anything that has to do with neurotechnology and related technologies that have to do with invading your bodily privacy? How do the regulatory bodies feel about this new development, and what are they doing about it? Let's find out. Elon Musk's Neuralink, a secretive company that develops brain-machine interfaces, showed off some of its technology to the public in 2019. The ultimate goal is to implant devices in paraplegic people that will allow them to control phones and computers. The first major advancement in flexible threads, which are less likely to harm the brain than current brain-machine interface materials. According to a white paper credited to Elon Musk and Neuralink, these threads also make it possible to transfer a large amount of data. The system might have as many as 3,072 electrodes per array, dispersed across 96 threads, according to the abstract. The threads are 4 to 6 meters long, making them far thinner than human hair. In addition to generating the threads, Neuralink has developed a system that embeds them automatically. Musk gave a big presentation of Neuralink's research, though he said that it wasn't simply for hype. The main reason for doing this presentation is recruiting, Musk said, asking people to go apply to work there. Max Hodak, president of Neuralink, also came on stage and admitted that he wasn't originally sure this technology was a good idea, but that Musk convinced him it would be possible. Scientists from Neuralink intend to utilize a laser beam instead of cutting holes to go through the skull in the future, according to talks with the New York Times. According to the source, the first studies would be conducted with the Stanford University neuroscientists. By the end of next year, we want to have this in a human patient, Musk stated. Musk presented results that the rest of the crew hadn't expected during a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. A monkey's brain has been used to control a computer. In the year 2022, Elon Musk appears to be on the verge of launching the first human trials of his brain-computer interface technology. According to a new job advertisement for a clinical trial director at Neuralink, the neurotech business is getting ready to go forward with its brain chip research. People with paralysis would likely use Neuralink's interface to get direct neurological control of a computer cursor in early human experiments, which Mr. Musk predicted will take place in 2022. The position calls for candidates who are mission-driven and willing and eager to go above and beyond to achieve the company's ambitions. As the clinical trial director, you'll work closely with some of the most innovative doctors and top engineers, as well as working with Neuralink's first clinical trial participants, the job listing first spotted by Bloomberg states. You will lead and help build the team responsible for enabling Neuralink's clinical research activities and developing the regulatory interactions that come with a fast-paced and ever-evolving environment. In return, Neuralink claims to offer an opportunity to change the world and work with some of the smartest and most talented experts from different fields. According to Mr. Musk, the first practical use of Neuralink's technology would be used to treat patients with brain abnormalities and diseases, and it will solve important brain and spine problems with a seamlessly implanted device. In the future, you'll be able to save and replay memories. This is increasingly sounding like a Black Mirror episode. Ultimately, you could download them into a new body or a robot body. He has since claimed that the technology will give people enhanced abilities, like being able to stream music directly to their brain. Neuralink researchers detailed a brain-computer interface in a report published in 2019 that uses an array of small and flexible electrode threads surgically implanted into the brain by a robot. The device is roughly the size of a dime and may reportedly replace a piece of the skull without inflicting long-term brain damage. Future versions will have all-day battery life and be able to link to a wearer's smartphone wirelessly. Neuralink's website currently has 84 job openings, including positions in robotics, software, animal care, and surgery. Of course, one may ask, what kind of precedent exists for what Neuralink is about to do? Matthew Nagel was the first person with spinal cord paralysis to have a brain implant that enabled him to control a computer cursor. Nagel told the New York Times that he learned to play Pong using only his head in 2006, and that it took him only 4 days to master the basic movements. Since then, disabled patients with brain implants have used scientific research to bring objects into focus and control robotic limbs in labs. Nagel and others employed a system called BrainGate, which was originally created at Brown University. Neuralink didn't come out of nowhere. There's a long history of academic research here. We're, in the greatest sense, building on the shoulders of giants. However, none of the existing technologies fit Neuralink's goal of directly reading neural spikes in a minimally invasive way, Max Hodak said at the presentation. If the system proposed in Neuralink works, it might be a significant improvement over existing technology. The Utah Array, a network of stiff needles that enables up to 128 electrode channels, was used by BrainGate. Not only are there fewer channels than Neuralink claims, implying that fewer data from the brain is being picked up, but the threads are also stiffer. That's a concern for long-term functionality. The brain moves around in the skull, but the array needles don't, causing harm. Neuralink's thin polymers may be able to remedy this issue. The primary issue in engaging with AI, according to Musk, is bandwidth. You can take in information faster than you can push it out with your voice or thumbs, but you're already connected to a machine. As a result, his ambition is for this system to allow humans to communicate with robots more swiftly and directly from their minds. Finally, according to the paper, Neuralink has built a special chip that can better read, clean up, and amplify brain signals. It can only transfer data over a wired connection for now. It uses USB-C, but the ultimate goal is to establish a wireless system. This wireless goal will be realized via a product called the N1 sensor by Neuralink, which is designed to be installed inside a human body and send data wirelessly. It's possible that it'll read fewer neurons than the current USB prototype. 4 of these sensors will be implanted by Neuralink, 3 in motor areas and 1 in a somatosensory area. It will link wirelessly to a gadget installed behind the ear that will be the only source of power. It will be controlled through an iPhone app, Hodak said. There's a whole FDA process we have to go through, he added. We haven't done that yet. Matthew McDougald, head surgeon at Neuralink, who appeared dressed in scrubs, said that safety is a primary goal and that ultimately they want it to be something more like LASIK eye surgery. It may also be possible to do away with the necessity for general anesthesia. The initial patients, on the other hand, would not have such a non-invasive experience. In 2019 and 2020, the corporation continued to work with rats to ensure the platform's stability. However, if it succeeds, the technology is promising a high-bandwidth brain link inserted via robot surgery. The use of thin, flexible threads to connect neurons would allow for the recording of multiple neurons' activity. The goal is to achieve better, more precise results than past brain-machine interface initiatives. All of this could be beneficial to humans, but it could also be extremely harmful, increasing social inequalities, changing the essence of the human being as an individual linked to his body and private mental life, or allowing hackers, companies, and even governments to exploit and manipulate people in new ways. Many questions regarding how to prepare for this future emerge. Perhaps now is the moment to consider where and how neurotechnology can be used before its applications become out of hand. It seems evident that we are on the verge of a future in which neurotechnology will be able to alter people's mental processes, enable telepathic communication, and technologically enhance human capacities.
Only like the most science rocks tier soy boys are going to be into this stuff, dude. We're going to communicate telepathically with robots. Take that, Christ Cox. I've mentioned to Elon that the infrastructure of Tesla has to be increased by starting a Tesla Texas rental. All right, this is like some autismo comment that I'm not going to read. Imagine when it's available to all people and someone with it has a tragic accident, ends up in a coma. Scientists will be able to read more of what's actually going on in their brains. Let's all get it in case we go into comas. Let's go. I mean, just fucking put it into somebody who's in a coma, dude. I gotta wonder, man, like, when they're talking about recording memories, I guess that means that it would turn your eyes into cameras and it would record, like, what your eyes see. Now, what I'm wondering is if it can see your imagination. That would be different levels. Like, if it can see your thoughts and imagination, that sounds like maybe something that is impossible. I do think it's way more... It sounds much more plausible that it would be able to access your eyes and then record what your eyes see. That sounds a lot more plausible to me than it being able to see your imagination or your thoughts. If it could do that, then it could like implant like dreams and things like that. Very interesting things to think about. I mean, I'm sure the science behind this, like how this thing works, is it's very advanced and it's very impressive, but ultimately evil. It's all satanic and evil. So many Elon cucks who think Mr. Alien Musk can do no wrong. Simulated by higher sentient beings. The future will change so quickly. Good job, Elon. Now all we need is for Tesla to be way cheaper and affordable. Elon Musk ruined his reputation. He's a flop and a fake. Let's go. Awesome. Awesome. Well, very trippy stuff, you guys. I'm definitely never going to get it. I hope you guys never get it. I don't recommend it. Moving on, we have a very interesting topic today for the religious section. This is Oxford Scholarship Online. We have demonic possession and lived religion in later medieval Europe. So this is a selection from that book. It's very long. I'm going to read some of this, then we're going to get to a video, then we're going to read some more of it, and then we're going to get to the other video. Looks like we're about on track for a 2-hour podcast today. Loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm getting it. So, let's see here. Where do we want to start with this? Demonic possession was a social construction, a process requiring collective negotiation. It was a spiritual state which had physical and social symptoms and outcomes. Demonic presence exposed the boundaries of normalcy, the limits of human power, and the hierarchies within the supernatural. In the social context, demoniacs had stepped beyond the bounds of proper conduct and manifested various anomalies in their bodies and actions. The aularity of a demoniac was a behavioral, spiritual, and physical deviance. Demonic possession defined proper social order, health, and spiritual purity by being their antithesis. Demons could lurk everywhere, and Christians could be possessed simply because demons had superior powers compared to them, and because demons were inherently evil. Demons were taken over by a malevolent spirit that was more powerful than them. Among the theologians and a large medieval corpus of learned pondering that focused on the acts and powers of demons, there was a general consensus that God had permitted the acts of demons, and they could work only by his permission. The disputed detail was whether God had given malign spirits a general license to test Christians or special permission to vex certain persons. Typically, the possessed in canonization processes were not seen as responsible for their actions during the affliction. Quite often, they were regarded as innocent victims of malevolent supernatural forces. This contrasts with both didactic material such as exempla, where sinners were duly punished and often by demons, and with witchcraft accusations, where the blame was put on someone else, the victim, him or herself, being regarded innocent. To analyze how demonic possession crossed between various levels, those of individual experiences, social dynamics, and cultural expectations, it is crucial first to analyze the causality behind the condition. In this chapter, the focus will be on reasons given for falling prey to demons. if and how certain behavior acts in places were dangerous and threatening in this respect. Personal culpability was more readily found as an explanation for possession in didactic material, yet it was not given as an automatic causality. Questions of guilt do not stand out in the depositions, and often no causes for possession were offered. The comparison of urban northern Italy and rural Scandinavia, the extreme poles of late medieval Europe in many respects, is crucial for the analysis in this chapter, as many cases suitable for closer analysis were recorded in these areas. As the examples from canonization process show, a generally accepted pattern of causality did not exist, since local traditions as well as cultural and environmental differences played a role in explaining the reasons for demonic threat. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Don't believe in demons? Watch this!
So I think a lot of people are probably, at least the people that are watching this stream right now, a lot of you are skeptical about demon possession and about demons in general. How would you convince somebody, or what would you say to somebody who's just skeptical about the whole thing? Like maybe you're just making these stories up to get attention.
Yeah. Well, it depends on where one begins. You know, if you're a person of faith, believing is seeing. If you don't really have that faith, then you say seeing is believing. So it's coming at it from two different angles. But again, the basis I would have is what the church has consistently taught throughout, you know, the church's 2,000-year-old history, is that evil is something personified in what we call the devil and these other fallen angels. You know, evil is not just humanity's inhumane treatment of one another. It's not just something of our own making, but there is something personified in evil, again, that we call the devil and evil spirits. And the church has consistently taught that throughout her history, and it's backed up by sacred scripture.
Well, then tell me another. So you've been part of some exorcisms that when these people are possessed and it's really the demon. If there is such a thing as demon possession, it's the demons that are doing these sort of supernatural things. And the 4 criteria that you mentioned, what's an example of someone explicitly exemplifying, or a demon exemplifying one of those things, supernatural knowledge or power, or knowing some language, or even levitating? I've seen stories about levitation. Tell me some of these stories that you've seen personally.
Well, it's important to know that a demon can act on a person's memory and imagination. So the real challenge is when these manifestations begin, the demon is really working on the mind of those who are there, the memory and imagination. So are these things truly happening, or is the demon causing myself and others to believe that what we see is real? Which again is why exorcists are trained not to focus on these things. But you're right, some of the examples of manifestations, we mentioned a few: eyes rolled in the back of the head, foaming at the mouth, exhibiting superhuman strength. I've seen demons manifest and pick up items like a metal swivel desk chair with just one hand lifted over their head. The person that did this didn't even weigh 100 pounds. Speaking languages otherwise unknown, speaking in Latin or in ancient Greek. Other examples would be slithering on the ground like a snake. Again, all of these things are meant to instill fear. I personally witnessed someone levitate. People have shared stories about once the demon manifests, it crawls up the wall like a spider. So again, these things are all meant to instill fear. And one of the things you said is very important. The distinction must always be made between the person as an individual and the actions now of the demon once they've taken over the person's body, treating that body as if it were its own. So exorcists are trained to make the distinction between the person as someone created in the image and likeness of God, and now the demon that is treating that body as if it were its own.
Let's talk about the philosophy behind demon possession. How can something like that be possible? How can a spiritual being take over a physical being and make them do things? How is that possible?
Well, nothing happens in the demonic world that God does not permit. And that's true of all reality. God permits many things to happen. Doesn't mean that God desires them to happen, but God does permit things to happen. So why would a demon be interested in possessing a human body? And the answer is at the very core of Christianity. The greatest thing that God ever did for us is the incarnation, took on human form in the person of Jesus Christ. So the devil or some other demon who wishes to mimic God in each and every way believes that he takes on human form by possessing a human body. And when they possess the human body, it's using the person's voice to speak, their hands to give gestures, their feet to walk. But again, once the demon takes over, then all of the actions are now wholly defined by the demon itself.
So, well, the question is, how does that happen? How can a spiritual being like a demon actually take possession over somebody and make them do things? Like, do they implant themselves in the soul? Is it is it neurons that they're fiddling with? What is that actually? What is happening?
It's not in the soul. There can be no actual connection between a human soul and a demon. So it's always of a physical nature. And that goes back to what we touched on earlier, is someone is creating an entry point whereby they are inviting a demon into their life. A demon, as a pure spiritual creature, doesn't occupy time and space as we do. You're in a room right now, I'm in a room, the room is containing us. A spirit isn't contained by space, it contains the space. Now that can kind of give you a headache to think about it for a moment, but as a pure spirit with intellect and will is not contained by space, it contains the space. So when one chooses to open up an entry point to evil into their life, it literally is that now the evil spirit is containing them. They've either pushed God away and invited the demon now to contain them, and that's how the manifestations then will begin and take place.
So it's a physical. So it's an analogy I was thinking about was it'd be like a demon coming in and like pushing the person out of the driver's seat into the passenger seat, and then the demon sits in the driver's seat and starts driving the car, so to speak. And the car is the analogy, the body, something like that.
Yeah. Yes. And when that happens, people I've worked with, some are fully aware of what's taking place, but they feel as if they're a prisoner trapped in their own body. They're incapable of stopping what's taking place. Other people I've worked with have told me that once the demon took over, they lose all recollection of what was taking place.
Let's think about some other natural explanations of what could have happened in these cases. So when you mentioned levitation, what could have been happening there that is not supernatural? Do you know what I mean? So like, go ahead.
I was going to say it could have been just something that I believe that I was seeing, because at the time the person was shaking very violently, and then I saw them rise up out of the chair, and then that's when the priest reached over and put his hand on the head of the person and pushed them back in the chair. Now there was another priest in the room, and we talked about it later, but he didn't see it. So I saw it, he didn't. Obviously the priest doing the exorcism witnessed something to reach over and push the person back down into the chair by putting their hand on their head.
What about the one where the person grabbed the table, steel table, and raised it above their head with one hand?
Yeah, well, again,
were you the only one there?
That was I would never do an exorcism alone.
Okay.
So there's always other people that are present. Certainly myself, I will have somebody else with me, and then the person that's possessed, and then a family member or friend. So it's never a one-on-one setting.
And so there were other people in the room that saw this person grab this table above their head?
Yes, yep.
And there was no way they could have done that on their own volition?
Not from the physical capacity of the person. It would have just been impossible. Unless I guess you could say that their adrenaline was just on such a rush and a high that at that moment they just were able to do something beyond their normal human capacity. But again, it's important to remember that leading up to the point of doing the exorcism, the person has gone through a psychiatric evaluation, they've gone through the physical evaluation, and these experts have said, we can't explain what is happening in the life of the person. If one were to go through, because some people that are dealing with mental health issues, schizophrenia, they can act out some of the very same symptoms that we would see in people who are demon possessed.
All right, well, I'm sure that invites a lot of skepticism. It sure would be fascinating to watch an exorcism. I think it's just one of those things that if you saw it for yourself, you could kind of decide if what you were seeing was genuine or not. Let's take a look at the comments. I came from seeing is believing, so I believe in demons. I was raised in an atheistic background without any protection of Christ and have had so many experiences with dark entities like sleep paralysis, seeing ghosts, hearing 2 times someone call my name. If this was not happening to me, I probably would have never became a Christian. I was in New Age, shamanism, divination, witchcraft, paganism, and giving legalism to all these unclean spirits, demons, fallen angels. I also had hard life, and without Jesus, I would be lost. He fulfilled my requests, and I'm so grateful for all his love and care. I believe Jesus allowed some miserably events in my life because he knew I will be called upon him. I got baptized in February this year, and although sometimes it is hard to take up your cross, it all makes sense, and it is worth it. Yeah, I mean, similar stuff for me, you guys. When I was living in Boston in the death metal, I was not anywhere close to a Christian. Christianity was not a part of my life. I was raised Catholic very loosely, and I kind of just stopped being involved with that. I pretty much decided I was an atheist by the time I was like 10 years old. And then, death metal music kind of led me towards like new age spirituality, tarot cards, eventually into the occult. I've seen a handful of strange things over the course of my life, and I most certainly believe in the existence of demons. I believe that, interviews like this, I get it. People listen to it. It's like, oh, yeah, sure, the guy lifted the table. Sure, the guy levitated. It's interesting how this life plays out, On the surface level, atheists say, I see no miracles. I haven't seen any miracles. Where are the miracles? Why doesn't God prove himself? Where are the demons? How come there's no recorded existence of spiritual phenomena? Which is funny because I have a feeling that there are recorded instances of spiritual phenomena. It's just, do you believe it's genuine or not? And life unfolds in a mysterious way, where the existence of these otherworldly type things may or may not be revealed to you over the course of your life. But then if you want to do a TED Talk or you want to do an interview and be like, trust me, bro, I saw the guy pick up the table, I saw grandma lift a car, I saw somebody levitate, then you'll be the one who people don't believe. I would just be respectful to God, and if you don't see any demonic activity in your life, then consider yourself lucky. I feel like I've seen some things, few and far between. I physically experienced demons. They are real. It brought me to Christ. So then in chat, Mike says, I've been under demonic attack. Could literally see scratches appearing on my body in real time. Wow. It's fascinating. Yeah, a famous moment for me that I talk about a lot on my stream. This is like one of the small handful of things that I've seen in my life that was unmistakable. And it was well before I was a Christian. It was in Vegas. I took a nap on the couch, the small couch, and when I woke up, I was looking at the TV, and it was off. So it was like a black screen. And in the reflection on the TV behind me, I saw a figure standing there, and they slowly walked out of my vision while maintaining eye contact with me through the reflection. It's like they noticed I was waking up, and they just slowly backed out, trying not to do it too quick as to try to sneak away. Like they didn't want me to see them. but I think it realized that I saw it. I saw like a floating, what looked like a Hebrew letter or something. I saw this like weird glowing letter. It looked kind of like a fairy or something, just like flying around my room. When I was going to bed, I was just like, hey there, buddy. I saw that, the thing in the reflection of the TV. There's been moments when I wake up in the middle of the night and I feel like I see something standing over my bed. And then I grab my phone to turn on the light, and I turn on the light and it's gone. I actually had an experience like that before I got sick here. I told you guys about it. I told you I saw some sort of a strange figure over my bed, and then it was gone, and then I got sick like a week later or a few days later. So interesting stuff, guys. These are the kind of things that, can you prove it to people? Is it something you can prove to people? I feel like for the most part, it's designed to not be that way. Yes, I had some sort of a Kundalini experience. I think demonic spirits are taking over people around me to make my life tougher since they can't do it through me anymore. Yeah, that's something I've considered as well. Have fun in space, bro. If it's real, go hang out there. Good times to be had in space. I know several people that have seen full body spirits. You will have people talking disgusting things, and people would probably add to it instead of being disgusted. But if you mention the purpose of creation, you are finished. Stuck in the middle with you. All right, let's pull up a little bit more of this article. Let's try to get to some of the good stuff here. Someone to blame. Dangers of the wilderness. Urban space gave a specific flavor to many Italian cases of demonic possession. However, medieval authors considered the devil's powers to be more prevalent in rural areas. Caves, distant forests, springs, and rivers were places haunted by demons. Maybe Kodiak, Alaska, a little bit more remote, a little bit smaller of a town. I felt like Las Vegas was a cult as shit. Like, Vegas has got all kinds of demons. In addition to remote, uninhibited and unfamiliar places, borders between populated areas and nature, that is, land, water, and forests on the outskirts of cities, were potential places for possession. Often rivers marked the limits of a city, delineating the border between nature and culture. The liminality of rivers is of ancient origin. They were the dwelling places of gods and spirits, which made these places powerful and potentially dangerous. Yeah, there's only one god, so everything else is just demons, entities. Bridges in particular were sacred, liminal places as they connected two spheres. This could be understood concretely as a border between different regions and ownership, or metaphorically between this world and that of spirits and gods. Nancy Cacolia argues that possessions in a liminal space reflect an idea in folk belief. Innocent victims were possessed by chance just for being too close to malevolent spirits that were not necessarily or clearly of demonic origin but linked to nature. Yeah, this seems to be like a pagan worldview. This argument is examined in detail later to find out whether it reveals a wider lay perception of demonic powers. Many Italian cases seem to corroborate it. The dangerous liminality of a riverbank is emphasized, for example, in a miracle of St. Giles from the 1260s. A girl from Paraguay was in the habit of going to the Tiber, sitting by the river and walking along it. Once, after spending an hour there, a horrible disease gripped her. She fell to the ground and pulled her mouth inside out. She saw demons and tried to throw herself into water and fire. She also had the most telling signs of demonic possession, the abhorrence of sacred things, and she did not let herself be signed by the cross. The malady struck her 7 or even 10 times a day. The innocence of the girl in relation to the affliction is underlined. No mention of sinful behavior was recorded, and her habit of strolling by the river was offered as an explanation. This case seems to fit nicely into the aforementioned pattern. An innocent victim fell prey to demons on the outskirts of an inhabited area close to untamed wilderness. You're stupid if you're a Christian. Christians are stupid. I assure you that I went on a long and deep perennial quest where I found myself studying various, like the majority of pagan religions. There's thousands of them, so I didn't quite get around to all of them, but I know a great deal about polytheistic religions, things like Zoroastrianism, ancient aliens. I studied Aleister Crowley, Thelema, AA. I had some friends who were Freemasons, Rosicrucians. I know about the other things that are out there, my friend, and the Bible is just the most impressive piece of work. And it's the most impressive because it is the Word of God. You're just going to have to figure it out for yourself, buckaroo.
Winning the battle. Part of that, it's helpful to know the tactics of the enemy. So we're going to talk about that a little bit.
My Odin! Heresy.
Hey, I'm Father Mark Mary with the Franciscan Friars of the Renewal, and this is Ascension Presents. We're going to talk about some of the ordinary, extraordinary works of the demonic, the devil. And we'll begin with a little disclaimer. Because we're going to talk a little bit about possession, stuff like that. If you're very sensitive to this stuff, for example, it just generally freaks you out, scary movies, etc., keep you up at night, and you have a tendency to sort of overseeing the demonic and things, perhaps, feel free to not, if you know yourself and this just may not be a good idea, feel free to just not watch the video. There's nothing you'll be missing which is going to prevent you from salvation. So you can go on. So these are the resources I'm going to pull from personal experience, but secondly, it's going to be, we had a class in seminary with a psychologist who's one of the experts who helps to evaluate those who think they might be possessed to see if it's possession or if it's some sort of other sort of mental illness, something like that, more natural means. And then I live with one of the friar priests we live with in the friary is an exorcist for a diocese, and most of his work he does is deliverance type ministry.
So you say that Odin is Lord. What is your equivalent to the Bible? I have read a great deal of the Poetic Edda, and I already know the answer that is the best thing that the Odinist has. You have the Poetic Edda, which does not present morals or a way to live your life like the Bible does. The Bible represents a complete philosophy. It represents a system of ethics, politics, metaphysics, and epistemology. You don't have an equivalent to that as an Odinist. You have the Poetic Edda, which is, like Thor wrestling a grandma. You don't really have a religion there. It's a LARP. You don't have like a complete system like the Bible has. And the same can be said for many other pagan worldviews. Most of them.
Which is sort of intimately related, though it's somewhat different than what he does as the exorcist. Here's sort of the typical classifications of the way in which the devil's going to work, or the demonic's going to work. Tentatio, infestatio, oppressio, obsessio. Temptation, infestation, oppression, and then possession, right? And perhaps maybe there's some other groups where maybe there's some other people who've used slightly different categories.
Thank you, Roxy.
But this is just the ones we're going to use, and I think they're sufficient. Tentatio, right? Temptation. We're familiar with that. We'll come back to that at the end. Infestation is the sort of demonic activity in a place. Oppression is a little bit outward in, and then possession is where it's a little bit more sort of further along, a little bit more intense, internal, getting into sort of the will and the intellect, things like that. So what do we? Why bring it up? What's the point? First of all, we want to root it. We're gonna do some couple things. We're gonna just sort of acknowledge its existence. We're gonna root it and sort of contextualize it. Talk about how to respond to it and how it affirms Catholicism in particular. And then lastly, we're going to talk about sort of the most aggressive demonic activity that we need to be aware of. So first of all, it's like let's just root it in the fullness of the truth of who we are as sons and daughters of God, living temples of the triune God. And I'm going to share the story. I wasn't living at the friary yet. I was there on a time of retreat where the priest meets with people, prays with people. And I'm a couple floors up, and I'm just sort of praying, do my thing, and I hear this screaming. And I know what happens there. So like it took me a second. I was like, what's going on? Then I realized what was happening. He had a man and a woman meeting with him, and the young woman was showing signs of the demonic. So he's praying with her, and we hear the whole shebang of cussing, of vulgarity, of blasphemy, of voice changes. Is there a chance it was something psychological? Sure, I'm not saying 100% this was the demonic, but all the evidence for me, for the sake of what we're doing here, seems like that was what's going on. So he's praying with her for a while. Again, sort of this whole thing's going on, and it's pretty dramatic. So what do? I get up. I'm a priest already, praying, saying the rosary, throwing some blessings, praying, saying whatnot, just entering in, accompanying it, prayer from outside. That session ends up. The man and the woman, they go home, and I sort of get into bed, getting ready to go to sleep, and the priest comes up and he knocks on the door. He's like, "Hey, sorry about that. That doesn't usually happen. I didn't know it was gonna be that loud. Blah blah blah. This and that." I'm like, "Yeah, no worries. You know, I just just prayed for a little bit, and all right, good night. See ya." And we went to bed. And here's the thing, right? Like, we're not like hardcore. We're not any more hardcore than you or I. We just know who we are, right? The demonic can't touch us unless we invite it in, or unless God allows it. And like, God's got us. You know what I mean? Like compared to the demonic, like chill out. Like, we got God, and so we're good. And we see stories with this with Padre Pio, St. John Vianney, St. Therese. Like, you just know who you are and know who God is, and just live in that reality, remain in a state of grace, and chill. Right? We can do battle, but we do battle with this sort of...
Calling somebody a retard is not an argument. It's what's called an ad hominem attack. You're going to want to look that up for the first time in your life. It means that you're not smart enough to talk to me. If you have a real argument, I will be waiting to laugh at you and your inferiority.
Confidence, like we got Dad, you know what I mean? And Dad's big, and actually Dad's divine. So we're good. So I just want to contextualize it like that, because if you come across it, don't freak out. Certainly we don't want to try and diagnose it, oversee it. But if you're in grace, you're a living temple of God, like, chill. Like, we're good. We're good. And again, I don't want to be flippant, but serious. Like, we're good. And so, okay, it's important for us to acknowledge this reality, right? So I shared a little bit firsthand account I've had in other times of manifestation around me. But like, let's look back at the whole tradition of the church, going back to scripture and beyond. Is like, throughout the history of Christianity in particular, there has been very explicit, sometimes sensational work of Christians against the demonic. This isn't something new. Again, it's scriptural. Jesus is doing it all the time. We see it through the lives of the saints, as I named some, Therese, Padre Pio, St. John Vianney. It's a real thing, and why that's okay and why that's good is it's important just to remember. To be honest, like, if we allow it to be, it can be good for our faith. Like, it's good to remember that the angelic beings are real, demonic beings are real, the spiritual battle is real, the spiritual life is real, invisible realities like we confess at the creed each Sunday, they're real. They're just real, and there's lots of evidence for it. And then lastly is the way in which it confirms.
I have read the Bhagavad Gita, I have read the Vedas, I have read the Laws of Manu, I know a great deal about Hinduism. It is a polytheistic religion, much in line with Odinism and the Greek pantheon and the Roman pantheon and the Egyptian pantheon. Vishnu is like Manu. Here's a series of news. Vishnu, Manu, Nu, Anu, Noah. They all represent Noah, a man who survived from a flood with his family. The Egyptian Ogdod is a group of 8 individuals who emerged from primordial waters, led by a patriarch named Nu. That patriarch is Noah with his 7 family members aboard the ark. So pagan religions have an obscured version of the Noah deluge story. Vishnu being the tale in Hinduism, there's the story of Brahma, who emerged from the waters out of an egg, just like the ark emerging from the flood. Vishnu traveled on top of an island in a mass of water that's like the tip of Mount Ararat poking out of the waters in the flood. A lot of interesting flood stories in all the various pagan religions. Of course, the Old Testament is the true scholarly tale, and the pagan religions are skewed primitive understandings.
Catholicism, and talking with a priest exorcist who sometimes invites brothers in just to pray and also to sort of let them experience it firsthand, is one of these days is like you see how the demons respond to the name of Jesus. You see how they respond to the name of Mary. You see how they respond to the crucifix, to icons of Our Lady, to miraculous medals, to holy water. Even when, right, maybe they're not explicitly known to the person who has the demon.
Unfortunately, dog, your own experiences will lead you astray. Knowledge, this is a question of epistemology. How do we gain knowledge? How do we come to know things? According to your epistemology, we learn through our experience, which is ultimately empiricism, which is not in line with the Bible. We learn things by revelation from God. Was there ever a revelation from God? Yes, there is. We have the Word of God in the Old Testament and the New Testament. This is God intervening in his creation as a means of letting us know things, as a means of giving us knowledge. So you do not gain knowledge by doing drugs and hallucinating and be like, "Whoa, dude, everything's so crazy. I think there's infinite lives." Like, that's not how you gain knowledge. You gain knowledge by reading the Word of God. So that's my advice to you.
Activity within them, like, it just confirms everything about Catholicism. Like, if you're in an exorcism and you see the way that which the demon starts to react to the name of like Our Lady, a lot of these like, well, isn't she an enemy to God? And they like, a lot of them get shut down pretty quick because they do not like Our Lady at all. And so it's good for us to remember. Or if you just see the way in which the authority of a priest manifests itself in those, like the work of Christians, particularly through priests, in deliverance ministry, in exorcism ministry, like it just confirms big time the fullness of the truth of the Catholic Church. Like, yeah, this is all real, no doubt. And lastly, I just want to come with this, right, is we talk about it. It's good to name it for some of these reasons, just to be comforted in the strength of our identity, to be reminded of the truth of the demonic, and this the whole spiritual life and its reality. It confirms Catholicism, but like also this is why we talk about it, but we don't emphasize it. Because I've never met anyone who has suffered the ultimate injury, which is the loss of grace, right, committing moral sin, because of an infestation, or because of an oppression, or because of a possession. Perhaps the lack of grace was already there and that opened the door. But I've never seen anybody suffer the ultimate trauma and ultimate violence because of one of those things. But I have seen it in hundreds, if not thousands, I'd say thousands of people because of temptation. And so one of the reasons the devil doesn't like or doesn't refer to all of these other sort of more sensational, extraordinary attacks on us and attacks on the kingdom of God are because his best work is done in the dark and in the secret. And there's these little subtle ways in which he invites us to lust. He invites us to gluttony. He invites us to cutting down another. And these little subtle works of his, they get us to just freely, straight up, basically kill our own souls. You know, and so that's how he wins, is winning most of his battles. So my brothers and sisters, this, like, okay, yeah, the demonic's real. And it confirms the spiritual life. It confirms the authority and the truths taught by the church. The way in which he's coming at you and I the most is going to be through temptation. My brothers and sisters, let's say no to the devil. He's a liar, he's an accuser, he hates us, and all he's trying to do is to bring us to hell. And he's trying to do it in little subtle ways. And so let's be renewed in asking God's grace to deliver us from temptation. And let's be renewed in saying no to the devil. And let's be renewed on calling on Our Lady and her grace to help us in battle. And in St. Michael the Archangel, right? Like, let's just say no to gossip. Let's say no to lust. Let's say no to pornography. Let's say no to getting wasted. Let's say no to cutting down a brother and sister. Let's say no to all of this sin. Let's say no to temptation. Yes to the good Lord Jesus. Let's grow in grace. Let's build up the kingdom. Let's send the devil and all of his little demon friends back to hell, and let's build up the kingdom of God. And let's win this battle. All right? So let's pray well. Let's pray well. Let's live well. Let's do battle well, particularly by calling down God's grace, by living from our identity as heirs of the kingdom. And let's live in peace. Let's live in peace. Thank you for watching. Somos peregrinos. We're pilgrims on this earth. Poco a poco, a little bit.
Based. Well, I still might choose Catholicism, honestly, as far as like what church I want to take part in, but yeah. Demons, my friends, they're among us. They're about, and I'll tell you one sure way that they can be involved in your life is when you bring them there. If you're involved in the occult, if you take part in divination, scrying mirrors, tarot cards, all things that I took part in, and you read the lyrics from death metal music and metal music, you know, a lot of stuff about Nile is all about Egyptian polytheism. Behemoth has quite a bit of occult content. Thelema 666. Before Aeons came, Aeons being from Gnosticism, he calls himself Nurgle. Nurgle is a character in the Ancient Aliens story. Yeah. Yep, so when you bring demons into your own life, you need to pay attention because, as our friend here was just saying, in the form of temptations, and I definitely feel like there is a strong sexual lust present in my life, and I am wary of demonic influence of my life. I've certainly dabbled in nasty things in the past, and, you know, you're going to have to take it up with God. You're going to have to continually check in with God with your prayer, your penance, constantly be asking for forgiveness. And you need to fight. You need to fight the battle of sin, whatever it may be. Whatever it may be, my friends. So it looks like that is our show for today. I had fun hanging out with you guys. Very interesting stuff. Do you think you've attracted a demon? Yeah, I do. I think that there has been demonic influence in my life, and I'm ultimately just trying to live in the best way that I can. But I also think that I have fought demons. I think I have done things to help bring people to Christ. I think I've done some good things, and I think I've done a few bad things, and I'm always working on myself. I'm always trying to hold myself accountable.
Bill Ballinger donated $1 to Wolfgang. Chad Catholic versus Virgin
I've come
Protestant.
to see things differently over time. It's so funny how it just is really in line with what Baked Alaska said. You know, Baked Alaska's like, you know, Protestant churches are rock bands and laser light shows. Catholic Mass is traditional and just feels better, and that certainly is a part of it. But I haven't done anything yet. I'm still going to this Baptist church, not especially often lately. You know, I do believe it's important to be a part of a church, you guys. And if you're like me and you struggle with some social anxiety and you feel isolated from people, that's just something that you're going to have to deal with, man. I'm in my hometown. I feel like it could be potentially awkward to go to a number of churches here. Hopefully I'm going to figure out how to get out of here someday. Not anytime soon, but we'll just see what life has in store for me, you guys. So, yeah, you know, have a firm grasp on what sin is. It is sinful to lust after women. It is sinful to, like, accumulate a massive Coomer collection and stare at pictures of women for hours and hours every day. So keep those kind of things in mind. I'm trying to make sure I keep it productive over here. Nothing wrong with working out, playing drums, reading, studying. In fact, after this podcast, I'm going to crack open my systematic theology, and then I'm going to crack open the Bible, baby, because that's how we do it around these parts. Do a chill stream later tonight. I'll think about it. I kind of want to watch Star Wars. I want to eat some food. Got to do some reading. We'll see what happens. Chill streams come and go. Can Jesus save me from the black pill? Jesus will not make your life easy overnight. It's a hard path, and what you start to realize is that the path of blaming God or imposing the lack of a belief in God on the world, it comes from being angry. It comes from being weak. It comes from not being able to be accountable. When you accept Christ and you're a Christian and you're praying, you'll start to realize, okay, I still have problems. I'm still feeling pretty black-pilled. I'm still broke. I'm still not where I want to be in life. Well, it's not really God's job to fix your life overnight. You know, you need to start healing. You need to start taking accountability. That's why it's so important to regularly apologize, penance, always apologizing to God, recognizing times that you sinned, realizing, you know, you might not think it's a big deal, but all sin is disgusting in the eyes of God. And to truly deserve to go to heaven, you needed to live a sin-free life, which is ultimately impossible for you. So you need to be grateful for Christ's atonement and sorry for the things that you've done. You need to try to do better. You need to make an effort. It's very important to make an effort. So still unclear if I crossed the lustful line by looking at a cutie and checking out her body. Yeah, I mean, it's not a very prolonged sin. It's something that happens very quick. Yeah. I'm sure we all have like devious sexual habits as black-pilled individuals, or just try to be better, guys. I think you know what I'm saying. But God loves you, and Christ died for you, and we're all going to be okay, my friends. There are many temptations here in this world. There are many temptations here, and what you should focus on is what God said. Simple as that. Yeah, but the point is, guys, we're all sinners, so you can't avoid sin. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to clean as much sin out of your life as you can. It just means that when people try to, like, hold it over your head, like, oh, you're like this. I read an old message the other day on my Instagram. It reminded me of when that guy was bringing up his hi-hats. I more or less... Did I steal his hi-hats? It's hard to say, man. Like, I went through a stressful move when I left from Boston and went to Vegas, and somehow or another, you know, there was a pair of nice Avestis hi-hats, Avestis Zildjian hi-hats that were on the floor, and I had like a cheaper brand of hi-hats, and while I was living there, I ended up using the Zildjian cymbals that were on the floor. I didn't know who they belonged to. I kind of just allowed myself to say, well, it seems like nobody notices these hi-hats, and I guess I'll just put them in my bag and take them. You know, have I been thinking for the past 8 years, like, I took Brian's hi-hats. Like, I'm so evil. I didn't really think of it that way, but he did decide to confront me like 7 years later. You can still make it right. I'm thinking about looking up that guy's address, dude. It was eating me up while I was playing drums today. I don't even use them anymore. I have nicer hi-hats now. I have HHX that I bought. But I'm thinking about finding this guy's address and sending him to him. I don't want to like talk to him at all. I don't want to get any fucking lecture. I might just be like, what's your address, bro? I'm trying to get this guy's address and send him his hi-hats back because it's stealing. It was wrong, and, you know, I made that decision to take those hi-hats back in 2014, and I am sorry, and if the guy wasn't such a prick about it, I probably would have just sent him back. But he tried to hold it over my head. Oh, if you're a Christian, thou shalt not steal. You know, he's trying to be all up his own ass about it because he plays death metal, and I think he was a Catholic too, but it's whatever, dude. The way the guy went about it was like really insufferable, and I guess somehow in my head, in the chaos of moving, I didn't really think of it as stealing. I thought of it as permanently borrowing a pair of hi-hats that nobody was using because I was poor and everybody else was rich. So it's just one of those frustrating things in life, bros. So if I find this guy's address somehow without having to talk to him, I'll send him back. But, you know, the dude was loaded. He had like a $10,000 drum set that his parents bought for him. I'm pretty sure he'll be okay, but if you're out there, bro, and you still want the hi-hats, just without bitching, just send me your address and I'll send them, okay? Because I'm a good person, because I am a Christian, so. Lottie flippin' da! All right, it's been real, you guys. You know that feel? Dude, I know that feel too, man. Like, I'm not a terrible person, okay? I just kind of slipped the nice hi-hats and left the crappy ones, and the fact that he waited 7 years to confront me about it, and he was such a dick about it, and he made it about me being a Christian. Oh, you're a Christian now. That's nice that you're a Christian now. Do you want to give me back the hi-hats that you stole? It's like, bro, what, like, randomly brought this on, dude? Why didn't you just bring it up a long-ass time ago? But anyway, that's it for the podcast tonight, you guys. Maybe we'll do a chill stream later. If I'm there, I'm there. If I'm not, I'm not. God bless you, my friends, and I will see you for the next podcast on Monday. No podcasts on the weekends. No Saturday, no Sunday. You know how I am. I like to stream all the time. We'll probably be hanging out. So, we'll probably be hanging out later tonight. Y'all know how it is. God bless you, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.